Have you ever felt like life has been holding you back on purpose? Like you've tried everything, worked hard, stayed loyal, sacrificed, but somehow nothing truly shifts? Capricorn, this isn't coincidence. This is your moment. A moment crafted by the universe, not just for change, but for complete transformation. You've been stuck in cycles, blocked by unseen forces, questioning your worth in silence. But now, that energy, that curse, is breaking. Not tomorrow, right now. This is more than a prediction. This is a divine reset. The doors that once refused to open, they're swinging wide. And the version of you that's been waiting to rise is finally here. So don't scroll past this message. You were meant to hear this, not by chance, but by alignment. Before we begin, tap like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what the universe has planned next. And drop a comment below. The welcome growth and harmony into my life. Let's set this intention together and step boldly into the abundance waiting ahead. Part 1. The final curse is broken. You are free now. Let's talk about the kind of curse that doesn't come from spells or black magic, but from within. The final curse isn't a mystical chain. It's the invisible loop that has kept you circling the same frustrations. Doing the work, giving your all, staying patient, yet the breakthrough never comes. It's when love slips through your fingers, money arrives only to disappear, and no matter how much inner work you've done, life still feels stuck in neutral. That is the curse. And Capricorn, you've carried it longer than most. But here's the truth. That cycle is breaking now. The delays, the false starts, the emotional weight are dissolving. Not because you finally earned your freedom, but because you finally outgrew the pattern that kept you trapped. The curse was never something placed upon you. It was inherited beliefs. It was ancestral scarcity. It was fear passed down and worn like a second skin. And now you're shedding it, not in chaos, but in clarity. Let me share with you the story of Darius, a Capricorn man in his 30s. For years, he worked tirelessly in real estate. He studied the market, networked, did everything by the book. But every deal slipped through. Every investment returned less than expected. He thought he was cursed, not metaphorically, but truly. One day, after a failed closing cost him thousands, he hit rock bottom. But instead of quitting, he did something different. He stopped chasing what didn't align. He let go of the high-pressure grind and turned toward helping first-time homebuyers in struggling communities. Something he'd always wanted, but thought wasn't big enough. That one decision shifted everything. Within a year, not only was he thriving financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and purposefully. When the curse breaks, life doesn't explode. It clicks. You stop running in circles and start moving forward. Capricorn, this is your moment of release. The karmic weight you've carried, it's lifting. Don't rush back to the familiar just because it's comfortable. You're free now. So walk like you are. Speak like you are. Choose like you are. The loop is over. The next chapter begins with you. Part 2. Someone is watching, and they finally see you. You've been the invisible one, the quiet worker, the reliable presence in the background while louder, flashier people took center stage. Capricorn, you've never begged to be seen, but you've always deserved to be. And now something has shifted. Someone, a person, an employer, a client, a potential partner, has finally noticed what's always been there, your steady brilliance. You didn't change overnight. You didn't suddenly become more valuable. But the world is just starting to catch up to the value you've always carried. The spotlight is moving, and it's landing on you. Let me tell you a story about Elise, a Capricorn woman who once applied for a dream position at an international NGO. She had the qualifications, the work ethic, and the passion. But during the interview, she was passed over for someone more charismatic and dynamic. She was disappointed but not destroyed. She went back to her regular job, sharpened her skills, and quietly started volunteering for causes she believed in. 3 years later, the same organization reached out. The person they originally hired had moved on. But Elise, she had built a real-world portfolio of impact. Her name came up again and again in conversations about leadership, ethics, and consistency. This time, they didn't just offer her the role, they offered her a higher position, with more autonomy and influence than she'd ever imagined. She didn't have to chase, she just had to keep becoming. Capricorn, someone is watching you now, not in a way that invades your space, but in a way that validates your path. You might not even know who they are yet. It could be a recruiter scrolling your profile, a long-lost friend who suddenly sees your evolution, a potential investor moved by your quiet resilience, or even a romantic partner who once overlooked you, now awakened to your worth. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about proving people wrong. This is about recognition finally catching up to preparation. You are magnetic now. Not because you're trying to be, but because your energy has matured. You radiate certainty, humility, and depth, the very qualities the world is now starving for. So don't dim your light out of habit. Don't play small just because it's familiar. The room has shifted. And the right people, the ones meant to align with your highest path, can finally see you. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to walk like someone who's already been chosen. Because in truth, you have. Part 3, Career and Financial Breakthrough. Not just money, but meaning. Capricorn, money is coming, yes, but this isn't just about wealth. It's about alignment. It's about finally stepping into the work you were born to do, not just what pays the bills. For years, you've done what was expected. You followed the steps, played it safe, made sacrifices for stability. But lately, haven't you felt the pull of something deeper? A quiet inner voice whispering, "This can't be all there is." Because it's not. What's arriving isn't just a salary boost or a lucky windfall. It's a complete career shift. A door is opening into something that will challenge your mind, nourish your spirit, and unlock income streams you once thought were out of reach. But here's the catch. It will require courage. Courage to leave behind what's comfortable. Courage to start that business, launch that creative project, say yes to the opportunity that scares and excites you at the same time. Let me share a story about Marco, a Capricorn in his late 30s. For over a decade, he worked in finance. It was secure, well-paid, and utterly lifeless. But in his spare time, he had a strange passion, crafting custom wooden furniture. It started as therapy, something to ease his stress. Soon, friends started asking for pieces. Then, strangers. But still, he resisted. It's just a hobby, he told himself. Then the company he worked for shut down, just like that. Gone. Instead of rushing to find another desk job, Marco took a leap. He invested his severance into building a workshop. Today, he runs a booming business shipping handcrafted pieces across the country. More than that, he's proud. He's alive. And every table he builds carries not just wood, but soul. Capricorn, this is your moment to build with purpose. You are not meant to just survive. You are meant to create, lead, serve, and inspire. The financial breakthrough coming your way is a tool, not a trophy. A tool to fund your vision. A tool to help your family. A tool to break generational patterns of fear and limitation. You're not just building wealth. You're building legacy. So don't wait for perfection. Start where you are. Trust your intuition, even if it doesn't make sense on paper. This isn't just money. This is meaning. And you are made for it. Part 4, The Rise of Destined Love. Real, healing, deep. Capricorn, let's talk about love. Not the kind you've chased. Not the kind you've endured. But the kind that finds you. When you're finally ready to receive it. For so long you've loved deeply, fiercely, and often in silence. You've poured your heart into relationships that didn't know how to hold it. You stayed longer than you should have. You gave more than you got. And somewhere along the way, part of your heart closed. Not because you stopped believing in love, but because you stopped believing it would ever come without pain. But what if I told you that love, real, grounded, soul-blind love, is already on its way to you? Not to complete you, not to fix you, but to rise with you. Let me tell you about Lana, a Capricorn woman in her 50s. She had been through a devastating divorce years earlier. Her ex-husband left suddenly, and the pain left a scar she didn't talk about. She told herself she was done, that maybe love just wasn't in her destiny. Instead, she threw herself into her garden, her work, her community. She healed in quiet ways, not expecting anyone to notice. One day, at a local art exhibit, she struck up a conversation with a man about a sculpture. Casual, unplanned, and utterly unromantic. But something about the way he listened, the calm in his presence, the gentleness in how he spoke, it stirred something in her. Weeks turned into walks. Walks turned into dinners. And one evening she broke down crying, not out of sadness, but because she realized, I feel safe again. For the first time in years, I feel safe. He didn't sweep her off her feet. He stood beside her. And that's when she knew this was different. Capricorn, that kind of love is approaching you too. Not fast, not loud, but deeply, silently, surely. This person won't come to challenge your worth or test your limits. They won't play games or give you mixed signals. They will see you fully. They will love you for the quiet strength, the loyalty, the calm power you've always carried. And you won't have to perform for them. You won't have to chase or beg or bend. You'll just be, and it will be enough. Here's the truth. You attract what you're ready for. And you, dear Capricorn, are finally ready for the kind of love that doesn't hurt. A love that heals, that nourishes, that reflects the work you've done within yourself. So don't close your heart. Don't harden it to protect yourself from disappointment. Because the love that's coming, it's not here to take from you. It's here to grow with you. This time, love won't pull you backward. It will walk beside you as you rise higher than ever before. Part 5, Breaking Generational Cycles. You are the turning point. Capricorn, not all legacies are made of golden land. Some are made of fear, of silence, of invisible rules passed down through generations, like play it safe, don't aim too high, or we're not the kind of people who get to dream. But what if you were born to be the one who breaks that chain? The truth is, many of the struggles you faced weren't entirely yours. They were inherited patterns, mindsets about money, relationships, and self-worth that came from generations of survival. Your parents may have done the best they could, your grandparents too. But survival is not the same as thriving. And you, Capricorn, weren't born just to survive. You are the one sent to rewrite the story. You are the turning point. Let me share the story of John, a Capricorn born into a traditional family of factory workers. Everyone in his family believed in one thing: get a stable job, stay there until retirement, and never take unnecessary risks. John followed the path at first. He worked in logistics for 8 years, waking up every day with a sinking feeling in his stomach. Not because he was ungrateful, but because deep down, he knew he was meant for more. His dream? To open a chain of cafes that blended wellness, art, and community. But whenever he brought it up, his family said, "That's not for people like us. You'll lose everything. You're being unrealistic." Still, the dream wouldn't leave him alone. One night he sat with his journal and wrote one line: "That I don't break this pattern, my children will inherit this fear too." That was his moment. John started small. Weekend pop-up cafes at local markets. Then a small space downtown. Today his wellness cafe chain has 3 locations, employs 30 people, and hosts free mindfulness workshops for underserved youth. And his parents? They still don't quite understand what he does, but they proudly tell everyone, "Our son built something meaningful." Capricorn, you don't need to hate your past to heal from it. But you do need to recognize where the old paths stop working. You're the one who says, "We don't stay in toxic relationships just to keep peace. We don't stay broke to look humble. We don't silence our talents because others feel uncomfortable." You are the one who chooses new. New mindset. New model. New meaning. This isn't just about your success. It's about building a foundation that future generations can stand on, stronger, freer, more aligned. So if you've ever wondered why life feels heavy for you, it's because you're carrying what others couldn't. But here's the gift. You also have the power to set it down. And once you do, everyone who comes after you walks lighter. You are the beginning of something beautiful, a lineage of liberation. Part 6, the final test. Choosing who gets to walk with you. Capricorn, right before a major breakthrough, the universe often sends you one last test. And it's rarely loud or obvious. It comes gently, silently, through the voice of someone you once trusted, someone who looks at your rising light and, instead of celebrating it, quietly tries to dim it. This isn't about enemies. It's about patterns. It's about people who still see you as the version of yourself you've already outgrown. Here's what often happens. Just as you prepare to leap, start that business, say yes to love, walk away from an old story, someone steps in with concern. They don't attack your dream. They just plant little seeds. Are you sure? This seems risky. They just don't want to see you get hurt again. It sounds like care, but it's not. It's fear disguised as love. And here's the lesson. Not everyone gets to walk with you to the mountaintop. Let me share the story of James, a Capricorn in his 40s. He spent most of his life living in the shadow of his older brother, the golden child of the family. James worked hard, kept his head down, and finally, after years of preparation, landed a huge opportunity to move abroad and start a creative studio. Just as he was ready to go, his brother, the very one who never supported his dreams, invited him to join a family business instead. "You're not the type for big risks," he said. "You'll leave everything behind when you have a sure thing right here." Jim, he wanted family approval. He wanted to belong. But deep down he knew this invitation wasn't about his future. It was about keeping him small. So he said no. He laughed. And within a year, his studio was flourishing, and for the first time, so was he. Capricorn, this is your final gate. To discern who's walking beside you. Who's holding you where you've already been. Ask yourself, do they celebrate your growth or subtly criticize it? Do they make you feel expanded or exhausted? When you talk about your dreams, do they lean in with support or shift the conversation back to themselves? Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is reorganize your circle. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with clarity. Everyone in your past served a purpose, but not everyone deserves a place in your future. So as you rise, and you will, choose wisely who you allow into your new chapter. Let those who mirror your courage, your values, your healing, stand with you. Rest. Bless them. Release them. This is your sacred threshold. Walk through it with only those who help you shine brighter, not those who make you question your own light. Part 7. Letting go of the past, or stay stuck forever. Capricorn, here's a truth we often avoid. You cannot welcome the future if your arms are still wrapped around the past. We think holding on makes us strong. But in reality, it's letting go that requires real strength. Not because it's easy, but because it demands trust. Trust that something better is waiting on the other side of that release. So ask yourself gently, but honestly, what are you still carrying that no longer belongs to you? A relationship? A regret? A version of yourself you've already outgrown? Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. Doesn't mean pretending it didn't matter. It means choosing freedom over familiarity. And that is one of the most powerful acts of healing you can offer yourself. Let me tell you about Serena, a Capricorn in her late 30s. She spent nearly a decade in a relationship with someone who always left her feeling small. He wasn't cruel, he wasn't violent, but he was unavailable, emotionally distant, consistently inconsistent. She held on, thinking love meant loyalty, even when it hurt. She feared starting over, feared the silence of letting go. But one night, after yet another broken promise, she sat in her car and whispered, "I deserve more." And something in her shifted. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just stopped holding on. The months that followed were hard. Empty holidays, sleepless nights, but also clarity, peace, space to breathe. And into that space, someone new entered. A gentle, grounded soul who saw her clearly, who met her with presence instead of promises. And for the first time in years, Serena didn't feel like she had to shrink to be loved. Capricorn, your story might not be about love. It might be a job you've outgrown, an identity that no longer fits, or a self-image rooted in past pain. But whatever it is, it's weighing you down. And the life you're meant for? It's light. We're taught to be afraid of endings. But what if the ending is the miracle? What if the door that's closing is the only way the right one can open? Letting go is not failure. It's graduation. It's the moment your soul says, "I've learned enough here. I'm ready for more." So as you stand on the edge of your next chapter, remember this. You don't need to carry your history to honor it. You don't need to suffer to prove you're strong. You don't need to stay where it hurts just because it's familiar. Your healing doesn't live in the past. It lives in your next brave decision. Choose peace. Choose yourself. And watch what flows into the space where the pain used to live. Capricorn, if you've stayed with me until now, then you already know. This wasn't just a video. It was a mirror, a wake-up call, a reminder of who you really are. You've carried so much, silently, patiently, while the world kept asking for more. You've survived disappointment, loss, and delay, but none of it was in vain. Every tear, every setback, every silent night was preparation. Because now, you are not the same. You are no longer walking in circles. You are walking in purpose. The final curse has been broken. Your light is no longer hidden. Your path is no longer blocked. And everything you thought you weren't ready for has actually been waiting for you. So this is your moment. To rise. To receive. To remember that you were never here to play small. If this message spoke to your soul, give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because your journey is just beginning. And one last step. Comment below, I am ready to receive what's truly meant for me. Let the universe hear you speak your readiness into reality. Your time is now, Capricorn. And destiny. It's been waiting for you all along.